So you've just finished Desert Treasure 2, you've taken out all the 4 bosses, and now what's left? You have 4 bosses to take out with 4 different drop tables. I'm here to show you an early guide on how to kill each and every single one of them. Welcome to my Desert Treasure 2 early release guide. So for Vardorvis, you're going to want a melee setup. So you're going to want to have a setup that's similar to this or upgraded, preferably. You don't want to bring a BGS as a spec weapon like a lot of people are trying to. You want to bring as much damage as possible with Slash. So Dragon Claws, you can even bring Crystal Chally as well. And I bring a B-ring switch and a light bearer so that I can get my spec back up really quickly and do the damage. You also want to bring Thralls, so that gives you extra damage too, and just lots of combo eats. And that's all you need. Quickest way of getting there is by following the pathway that goes down from the Chambers of Xeric all the way down to the boat, or you can use the ring and run straight to the boss from there. When you do unlock the teleport, you can click teleport on the ring, go to the Stranglewood, and it will send you straight to the pyramid, which is just south of the place you need to go to. And you're going to want to run west until you reach up to the boss's area, which is just here. So once you enter, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to drop some combo food. As soon as it's dropped down, what you want to do is you want to get your Thralls ready, get your prayers ready, and sip a super combat as well. So the tiles that I've got marked here, you guys can copy yourself, which you can do because the boss can be AFK at some point. But there are 2 main things to watch out for. The axes, which are just about to pop up now, and then the range attack as well. Now, when the axes come around, all you have to do is coordinate yourself so that you're not in the way of the axe. So what I did there is, because an axe was under me, I walked right next to the pillar because the axe doesn't go to the pillar. It goes towards the gaps. As you can see here, no attack from the axe. Now the other attack you're going to get is the range attack, which is why you want to have your prayers ready to switch. If you need to take a sip of prayer, go in your inventory, then switch back to your prayers, so then in case that it does pop up, then you can switch. And then all you're going to do is you're going to damage boss. Anytime you get hit from anything, you just want to use a combo E. So see, this axe has just gone past me, and the axe that was towards me, I ran away from. This bit's an easy bit. You just click these, and then they disappear. That way, you don't then take a huge amount of damage at the end. And all you're doing is avoiding the axes, avoiding the range attack, and you wait until the last 20 HP, where it starts to get a bit chaotic. When the boss reaches 20 HP, eventually the room is going to start to get a bit more severe. Whether that be the range attacks you more frequently, or the axes start coming towards you in groups of 3 rather than in groups of 2. So all you're going to want to do is do the exact same thing, just be aware of your surroundings, have your prayers ready so that you can switch them over, and carry on attacking again. If your Thrall despawns, spawn your Thrall, and then as soon as you're ready to then get that last little bit of HP, whether it's 10% or not, and you're ready to then use all your specs, what you want to do is then you want to spec out the boss right at the end to then finish it off. So as you see here, claws go out, nice, done, and then avoid that axe. Oh, okay, and then you go. And that's the boss. It's as simple as that. And you get your drop, and then you just rinse and repeat, whether you teleport back or you stay around if you've got enough supplies for more kills, which I do. So the setup I use for the Leviathan, it's a weird one because I'm an Iron Man, but you can use a Bofa with full crystal armor, or you can use a Zarite crossbow, but I'm limited to an ACB. So you can also bring ruby bolts, and you can bring diamond bolts, which will help especially during a boss fight, which will be able to get down the boss a lot quicker and a lot easier as well. Make sure you're on ancient magics, and you also have Shadow Barrage ready to be used. To access this area, if you haven't got a Temple of the Eye necklace, or if you haven't already got the teleport on the ring, you can use a fairy ring to DIS, and then you can enter the Temple of the Eye from the Wizard's Tower, and then to enter by going in with the Catalytic Guardian. And once you're in, it's a short path straight to the end of the boss by jumping over these 2 stones. And then you can board the boat and then take on the boss. So for this boss, what you're going to want to do is you want to sip a ranging potion. And then when you go in, then you want to sip yourself a stamina potion. Okay, now hear me out. Think of this boss as Zulrah on steroids. So the only difference between this boss and Zulrah is this boss chucks boulders instead of chucks acid, and it flicks it through its prayers as it attacks, rather than giving you one type of snake. So all you're going to do is if you see a green orb, you're going to pray range and wait until it hits. Once it lands, you can then get ready to switch to the next prayer, and then it shouldn't hit you. If you switch too early or too late, the orb will hit you, so you must make sure that your prayer is on by the time it has hit you. What I suggest during this run is that you attack it 3 times, and when its 4th phase pops up, you then want to Shadow Barrage it. So this is the 3rd phase here, and what's going to happen now is I'm going to get a bit of a fast phase. You guys can do this a phase beforehand if you want to, but because I'm confident with this 4th phase, I then get my Shadow Barrage ready now because I don't want it to go any faster. And then what I do is I run to the back of its head and fire an arrow at it. Then what you want to do is get ready for one of its specials. So one of them is a lightning special. And I've got these tiles marked for you guys as well, so you can actually check these out in the description below. So you can copy and paste these onto your map. And how it works is similar to Bandos, where you do an entire run around until you hit an edge, and then you click fire as soon as you land on that square. So you run 5 tiles, then you shoot, and then you just keep going until it finishes. Now what's going to happen here is the attacks are going to be slowed down because you've actually slowed down the boss itself. So you're going to carry on doing the same old thing that you did before, and when you notice that the speed is coming at you like 1 tick, so not quite just yet, but on the next attack, that's when you want to be ready to Shadow Barrage right afterwards. So we'll carry on through this attack. After its 3rd phase, it will start using melee. So you can be confident to use mage and range for the first 2 phases, but then eventually it will start to use melee. But it doesn't get too complicated for the first 3 phases. The 4th one is where it starts to stoop. So you want to Shadow Barrage, and as soon as you have, you run as quick as you can, because eventually, if you don't get to it quick enough, it will reset and it will carry on attacking you. The next phase is with boulders. So you will have 10 tiles to walk on before eventually it will explode. So I walk 10 tiles there, I'm going to walk behind a boulder, and then I'm going to be safe. Now the important thing is you want to make sure that these boulders are as far out on the edge as possible, and I'll explain the reason why when it gets closer down to the end of the boss. So I'm going to Shadow Barrage the boss again, just because it started to speed up, and I've made sure that my healing is high, made sure my prayer is high as well, so that for the entirety of the fight I'm not going to worry about being too low. I'm going to run to one of the shoot tiles, and then what I'm going to do right here is I actually wait for the lightning to reach the 2nd tile, or at least the 2nd tile away, and then I'm going to run, which makes it the easiest way to avoid the lightning if you're not ready for it. So then you can keep going and do the same path. As soon as it reaches up to the 2nd one, you can fire, or as soon as you have fired on the edge square, then you can then do the same thing. You can focus on one or the other, just don't focus on both at the same time, otherwise you're going to mess up and then you're probably going to end up dying. And you rinse and repeat until this phase comes up. There's a little nerve system that's running around the circle, and you want to follow that the entirety of the time. There's going to be a lot of prayer to then also try and protect against, so if that's your main focus, make sure you try and learn to pray against those first. Then start getting the damage in. But don't forget as well, if you're using bolts to switch over to your diamonds so that you're not proccing rubies, so then you can carry on the attack and do as much damage as possible. But as you can see here, I'm standing around the edge, I'm using the tiles so that I'm not getting hit by melee, and then eventually you will get the kill. Now for the Duke Sucellus, you want to have full Bandos gear, an Osmunten's Fang, or an Arclight. If you want to bring a scythe, you're more than welcome to, but a slash weapon is highly recommended. It's a very similar setup to the Vardorvis, but the extra bit is you're going to also want to bring a pickaxe as well with you. And I'll explain the reason why when we get into the boss room. Best way to get to Wise is you can use a Fairy Ring DKS, which will then take you outside of Relica. You can then use this porter ship to then take you to Wise, which then send you all the way up to here, and then take you straight down to the dungeon. So take you there, or you can take the Ice of Basalt, which will then take you down to Wise, go down to the salt mine, and then you then take yourself to the boss itself. So once you enter the boss room, you're going to want to drop some of your combo food, so that you have some room in your inventory. You're going to want to pick up a pestle mortar, and then these tiles that I've got marked, you can copy these too. These do help a lot. You want to walk along those tiles specifically, and no other tiles, and you want to pick 2 mushrooms from this one side. Now the reason why I've marked these tiles in particular is because it avoids you getting spotted by in the light. You also want to be careful of the shadows that spawn underneath you as well on the ground, because if you do get hit for them, you'll get hit roughly around about 16 to 18 HP, which is quite annoying. The thing is, you want to try and conserve as much health as possible so you can get as many kills an hour as you'd like. So when you get to this side, You want to pick 2 mushrooms as well. Now the reason why I said to bring a pestle and mortar is you want to grind them up. And the reason being to that is because these vats on the left and the right hand side require you to have 6 of each ingredient to make a potion to then poison Duke Sucellus. What happens is it wakes him up and then you can attack the boss. So once you've then also mined the salt, which you can mine from the left or the right, you're going to fill each vat with 6 each, and then you're going to want to pick up your potions. You can drop your pestle and mortar so you can make room for your food in your inventory, and then you get your potions and get ready to fight. So that's one from there, and that's one from there. So then if you've got your spec weapon, get your spec weapon ready. If you don't, that's fine. You can bring a BGS and you can lower this boss, so you can bring that too. Now what you want to do is you want to stand behind either this pillar or the pillar on the right hand side, get your spec ready, but do an attack before you see those white clouds or after you see those white clouds. Because those little white clouds are what do the damage. His thump is what does the damage to you. You want to be praying melee, and then you want to be hiding up behind this pillar. So this attack is called like his third eye attack. So you want to be sure to be stood behind a pillar when he does this attack, because otherwise you get hit for the majority of your health. I believe it can hit up to 60s and 75s, probably even higher, but I try not to test it. I've been hit 70s from it before, so try and resist it as much as possible. And the other attack that's quite annoying is the acid. So make sure that you run to the other side and then you just attack boss. That's all you do. That's how easy this boss is. You just try not to get hit by his thump attack, hide from his eye attack, and if he has acid that comes along the way, all you have to do is run to the other side. That's literally it. That's how basic this boss is. And then all you do is you just keep attacking it. And then I'm gonna claw it off now. Yeah, lovely. Right, what do we get? We got rune javelins. Great. So for the gear for the Whisperer, you're going to want to bring either full Arims, full Virtus, full Ancestral. You're going to want to advisably bring a Shadow, but I'm going to try and attempt it with a Trident. I don't know how well it's going to go. If it doesn't go well, I'd bring a Trident. A Shadow. You can also bring a Sanguine Staff as well. I believe they've been pretty decent. And you want to bring as much mage gear as possible. And lots of combo food, a stamina pot, and some prayer pots. Don't forget the Blackstone Fragment and an Insta-Tele. So the quick and easy way of teleporting here is either using a combat bracelet from Edgeville from the monastery. So you run down and then you go to the round to the back where Camdoozle is. You can also go and use Lazar as the ancient teleport, which then brings you there too. Or if you have the ring, you can then teleport here as well. I did forget, you're probably going to need a stamina because it is a bit of a run. I mean, it's a bit of a run. So once you run down to the end, you can use the teleporter and you can press 2 on your keypad and it will send you straight to the front of the entrance of the boss. So you can simply just invigorate the Mute Heart or sip your magic potion and then you're going to run in. Now I know there's a lot of people that dislike this boss, but this boss can actually be very, very interesting because the mechanics are very easy to understand. It's just clicking at the right time and praying the right thing, which the majority of the bosses are. So what you want to do is you want to instantly put on your pray bonus and an attack. Those red arrows are going to be arranged and you step aside so that those things under the water won't attack you. The blue ones are mage, you want to step aside and then the things won't attack you. And you rinse and repeat for this first phase, so you coordinate your prayers to what they're attacking and then you do the same thing over and over again until a special then comes up. So the first special is going to come up, so she disappears, reappears. You then want to get your Blackstone Fragment ready. And then these little green tiles you want to stand on coordinately. If you have true tile marker put on as well, you'll know where you're about to stand. So suggestively you want to walk around as quick as possible, stand on each of the green orbs, and you will regain sanity. As soon as that happens, you want to instantly run away as quick as possible so that she does not hit you with melee. And then as soon as you gain enough distance, you can then run around and you can carry on and attack again until the next phase. Something to know here as well is that she won't attack you with the same 3 attacks. So it would be 2 normal attacks and then the opposite attack for the next part. So there we go, that's a new phase that she's going to enter into. So what you want to do is you want to get your Blackstone Fragment ready. As soon as you turn it on, you'll have a bunch of pillars. Now you want to hide behind the weakest pillar ever. And you want it to be next to the second weakest pillar so you can walk behind it. As soon as she splashes down and attacks, you can instantly run to the next pillar. And as soon as you've hidden behind it, You can then chuck in 1 attack or 2 attacks, depending on what sort of staff you're using. And then again, you're going to run all the way back because she then does like an entangle. So you just want to make sure you don't get hit by melee. And then rinse and repeat. It will come to the next phase. So again, it's going to be the 2 attacks and then an extra attack of a different. So it'll be like range, mage, or mage, range. And then you just step aside and rinse and repeat until the next phase then pops up. As soon as she's got down to her last phase, what you want to be aware of is her last one is just to take 2 ghosts out, and they'll be shouting Vita. So you want to attack the ones that say Vita, however you say it, and that will conclude the last phase. So it's kind of like a thing that you do at the Nightmare where you take out the sleepwalkers. And then she's going to lure you again, and then you're going to try and walk away or run away so that you don't get melee by it. Now, these last attacks are going to be intervaled, so it's going to be the first attack, then opposite again, if that makes sense. So, yes, this is a bit annoying because you have to do a lot of clicking, but if you do it smoothly and you're not running everywhere and you're just making sure you just click one thing at a time, you'll be able to do this boss so smoothly. So it's as simple as, while you're attacking, mage, range, mage, and then walk away and rinse and repeat. Then the last phase. Oh no, I feel really under pressure with a trident. Oh my god. I've never killed this thing with a trident, so it's very difficult. Oh my god. No, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. Oh god, no. I need to get out. So this time I'm gonna enter with a shadow just because I feel like it's gonna be slightly easier. So then show an example of doing the final phase. Now the reason why I want to show it with a shadow is because I know the timing of a shadow. I don't really use trident anymore because I've upgraded. But the thing is, it's not impossible to do it with the trident, it's just that I don't know the timings. But you guys will be able to understand the timings if you know how to use a trident. If you don't use a trident, use a shadow, then this technique will be perfectly fine for you. But I'm going to get straight to the last phase just to explain how to do that. So what's going to happen here is there's going to be 2 attacks and then it's going to switch. You're also going to have ghosts under the water which are going to try and attack you every 2 ticks as well. So you want to try and run around the room, avoiding these ghosts, not staying still whatsoever. Just try and make sure that you run in vertical, horizontal lines because the majority of the time they come at you diagonally. So as long as you're running around the room and you're praying correctly, you will be fine. Because the majority of the time, if you run away, you're away from the ghost. If you're praying correctly, then that way you're not taking any damage, you're not losing your sanity, and then that way you'll be able to take down the boss. As long as you click it every so often, the boss will eventually go down and it'll be over with. And that's it. That is the 4th and final boss, and then you will receive your drop. Now, probably there's probably a better technique out there that I'm sure that other people can advise and show, but this is the technique that I had learnt myself and I've done all on my own. I didn't get anybody to teach me it. I did it from scratch, even on the quest as well. I've managed to get like 4th KC from being here. But hopefully you guys eventually start getting the kills. It will soon start to smoothen in, and it'll start to smoothen out as well. Just remember to avoid the ghosts and just keep attacking and making sure your prayer switches are on point. And that's how easy it is. I hope you learned something today. Subscribe, like, and share. Or you'll be in a pit.